Guess who?
Keep away from me.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 best Goosebumps episodes.
Carly Beth, what is it? The mask. It won't come off. Really? Can't get it off?
For this list, we'll be looking at the most memorable episodes of the chilling original series. Viewers beware, you're in for a scare, and a few spoilers. If we missed your favorite hair-raising episode, let us know in the comments. Number 20, Scarecrow Walks at Midnight.
Oh no. No, Dad, you read the wrong chant. This is the one that makes them wake up.
As it turns out, scarecrows aren't just meant for birds. This episode follows a brother and sister on a remote farm with their elderly grandparents and some strange neighbors. Even in such a vast stretch of land, the towering cornstalks seem to close in on you. It's a claustrophobic environment, seeded with suspicion thanks to spooky tales of moving scarecrows. It's not just the children who are afraid. What makes this episode particularly unnerving is the fact that the adults are scared too. The scarecrows may be just made of hay, but we certainly wouldn't want to cross paths with them in the dark.
Grandpa?
Number 19, Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes.
My garden. What have you done?
But I didn't, sir. It was a nose. It was...
The elves' evil cousins have come to play. What may have once been regarded as a kitschy lawn ornament is now forever burned into our brains as a menace. When no one is around, the family's lawn gnomes come to life and ruin the neighbor's yard. They become increasingly aggressive and make Joe the scapegoat for their mayhem. For fear of being outed, they turn their sights to the boy. They may be small and fragile on the outside, but they're pretty dark and twisted on the inside. They trip and surround Joe and his sister before breaking out the camcorder and brainstorming how to kill them.
Why are you doing this?
Don't you know anything about gnomes? It's what we do.
The POV of the footage with the creepy little giggling in the background is particularly disturbing. Number 18, Trilogy Part 1, Squeal of Fortune. We all get a little greedy sometimes. Once a sweet childhood hobby, selling lemonade quickly turns sour when Jessica starts taking advantage of the sweaty citizens. The montage of crooked tactics can be viewed as a satiric but hellish criticism of capitalism. But in this world, sketchy business people actually face punishment.
Carl told you not to be greedy, but you didn't listen. You're nothing but a greedy little pig.
Jessica is swarmed by a mob of angry, thirsty patrons as she slowly morphs into a pig. If the grotesque, human-like makeup doesn't horrify you, the literal pig hunt through town will definitely be enough to make you squeal.
What have you done to me?
You hogged the profits. I should have known you were nothing but a greedy little pig.
Number 17, The Headless Ghost. It's a timeless tale, but with an R.L. Stine twist. We've all heard some version of a scary story where somebody loses their head, whether that's a headless horseman or a girl with the ribbon around her neck. In this Goosebumps episode, two best friends decide to investigate the tale of a headless ghost, but end up being forced to find the ghost's head or lose their own.
And so, I'll need a new head. And guess what, Dwayne? I'm gonna take yours.
The moment they find the head is particularly memorable.
What were you expecting? A dish of ice cream?
While it does have that 90s glow to it, it's still pretty traumatizing to witness as a kid. Number 16, My Hairiest Adventure.
Suddenly the little kid ran to his father like he was scared of me or something. Then I saw why.
Somehow we missed this side effect on the self-tanner bottle. This episode brought up fears surrounding self-care that we didn't even know we had. Larry and his friends are having a little adolescent fun, slathering themselves in some instant tan. However, the expiration date is way past due, turning the lotion into more of a potion. One by one, the kids start slowly turning into dogs. Or so we thought. This episode has a dystopian twist, when it's revealed that the children were never really children at all.
Hey guys. Anyway, Mr. and Mrs. Boyd came here to be part of Dr. Merkin's project. He learned how to turn dogs into humans. That's why I got those shots every 2 weeks. But I'm back to my old self now.
It's been the other way around. A doctor has been turning dogs into humans. We are honestly fine not knowing what happens after the show fades to black on this one. Number 15, Attack of the Jack-o'-lanterns. Halloween is a time for tricks and treats, but some kids are a little more mean-spirited than others. In an attempt to fight back against the mean duo of Lee and Tabby, Drew and Walker devise a prank with friends from out of town, Shane and Shauna. Only it doesn't go as Drew expected. As the group trick-or-treats, figures with rotting pumpkin heads lead them to a new neighborhood, abundant in candy.
If you want to trick or treat, follow us. We know a new neighborhood. A new neighborhood.
The Candyland turns sour as they're threatened by the pumpkin-headed residents, sending Lee and Tabby running off in terror. Don't worry though, it was their friends Shane and Shauna all along. They just happened to be aliens.
Do you guys want some candy for the trip back? No thanks, it's not part of our diet. But if you know where some nice plump adults are, we'll eat those.
Number 14, the Cuckoo Clock of Doom. Anyone who has a younger sibling can totally feel Michael's pain. His little sister will not stop tormenting him with incessant pranks, and getting away with it because she's the baby. He finally decides to retaliate by messing with his father's cuckoo clock and framing Tara. In the Goosebumps universe, however, every good plan must go awry. The clock takes the family back in time.
This is all too weird. Everything's happening all over again.
Michael, can you give me a hand with the cake?
The cake. Tara! Not this time.
Michael is forced to relive his torment at the hands of his sister before going back to a time before her and beyond. It takes away a little more of his free will with each jump. We watch with racing hearts as his chances to fix his mistake dwindle down to the very last one.
I am 12. I'm 12. Dad! I love you!
Number 13, Vampire Breath. Old homes tend to have their own little secrets. Original flooring underneath dingy carpet, a hidden compartment behind a new wall, or maybe even an old artifact left behind. You don't expect to find a hidden vampire lair in your basement though. 2 curious kids and a glowing potion is all it takes to wake the Lord of the Undead from his slumber.
I've been sleeping for such a long, long time. I'm so terribly thirsty.
The horrifying man in the basement then explains in detail how their blood will taste before they narrowly escape, but that unfortunately sends them right into the clutches of a creepy girl. In a great twist, it's eventually revealed that the twins were vampires all along. The episode ends on a great yet disturbing visual of the twins tucking themselves into their coffins.
Night. Night.
Number 12, Monster Blood.
I wonder why they call this stuff monster blood. I don't know. Maybe to scare people off.
Imagine Flubber, but replace mischievous with downright evil. Evan is shipped out to stay with his aunt in the middle of nowhere. Unable to connect with her, he goes exploring with Andy to find some source of entertainment. They stumble upon a warm, green slime marked Monster Blood that causes strange events as soon as it's tampered with. The neon sludge only seems to keep growing and swallowing everything in its path. Admittedly, watching this as an adult brings one initial thought to the forefront of our brains. That would be a nightmare to clean up.
Devour and demolish them, crush them and consume them.
My monster blood.
Number 11, The Girl Who Cried Monster. You can only pull so many pranks before people get fed up. Lucy is known for making up stories to get a rise out of people. Unfortunately, her reputation makes it impossible for others to believe what really happened.
His eyes popped out of his head, and he was eating bugs, and everyone here thinks I'm making it up.
Gee, I wonder why.
Her local librarian is revealed to be a grotesque monster. The slimy transformation pictured as he feeds on creepy, crawly bugs is nauseating. Not even her parents believe her though, or so it seems. In a turn of events, the family has the librarian for dinner, literally. As it turns out, monsters aren't really that uncommon. but these parents had to make sure there was no competition.
Now listen, both of you. You can never, ever let anyone know that we are monsters.
Number 10, The Ghost Next Door, Parts 1 and 2. This episode gave us a different kind of goosebumps. Most episodes are scary, a little freaky, and probably have some odd twist. This one is noted mostly for its melancholy storyline. We follow along as a little girl finds out that she and her family died in a fire.
You said you lived at 49, right? Right. But you can't live there. Why not? Because 49 Cordina Way burned down 3 years ago.
When she realizes that she is passed, a dark entity begins talking to her. In hopes of becoming more corporeal, the entity chooses Hannah's only friend Danny to become his new host. After she saves Danny, she begins to fade. As she bids a heartbreaking farewell to Danny, the little girl is finally allowed to find peace and reunite with her family.
Hannah? Hannah? You've done a good job, honey. It's time to come home.
Number 9, The Werewolf of Fever Swamp, Parts 1 and 2.
Oh no, we gotta get out of here. What is it? Shut up and run.
The full moon is in full effect at Fever Swamp. Local urban legends, mixed with odd coincidences, convince Grady that something is wrong with his new home. The foggy atmosphere creates a cloud of dread over the town, and the town hermit seems to guard the mysterious swamp. It turns out that there's a werewolf about, but it's not Grady's new dog. It's his new friend, Will. The sight of Will sinking into the swamp is haunting. So is the twist ending, which reveals that there's still a werewolf in town. Number 8, A Night in Terror Tower, Parts 1 and 2. History can be fascinating but also extremely unsettling. There are dark chapters that we definitely prefer to read about than live through. Touring a medieval prison in London, Eddie and Sue wander away from the group and get more of an experience than they hoped for. A figure that the siblings think is made of wax springs to life, chasing them through cold and confusing corridors.
Now, you come with me. I won't hurt you.
They escape only to be brought back into the tower, this time in the past, where they learn their true identities. This episode brings the scares and has a clever twist at the end.
Now I remember.
So do I.
The spell has worn off.
Number 7, Welcome to Dead House, Parts 1 and 2.
I lived in your house. Your room was my room.
Your room?
Before I died, they needed my blood to stay alive.
Moving on is never easy, especially when you're a kid. You can feel like you've been uprooted and planted onto another planet. When Josh and Amanda move to Dark Falls, they have a gut feeling that they just don't belong there. The neighborhood children look like they've been plucked from the past and haven't slept since. If horror movies have taught us anything, it's that if a gorgeous home is vacant, there's a reason. It turns out that a chemical accident turned the entire town into the living dead, and they need fresh blood to survive. Note to self, always do the research before buying a new house.
Come back! Come back! Dark Falls needs you! I'm hungry!
Number 6, Welcome to Camp Nightmare, Parts 1 and 2.
Jay?
It tore Roger! It tore Roger to pieces! And it's gonna get us!
Whoa, okay. You warn the other guys, we gotta get Colin.
Summer camp was a rite of passage for many of us. Some dreamed of the hot summer days spent on a lake with their best friends, while others dreaded the threats of the great outdoors. Bugs and snakes aren't the only things that go bump in the night here. Billy becomes increasingly suspicious as campers go missing, and the camp counselors exhibit bizarre behavior. It all comes to a head when he's asked to hunt down escapees from the girls' camp. His parents let him endure enough trauma to last a lifetime, only to reveal that it was all a test to see if he was ready to join him on a scientific mission to planet Earth. Our head is still spinning.
Where are we going?
Very far away. A place called Earth. Research tells us the aliens there are pretty dangerous and unpredictable.
Number 5. One Day at Horrorland, Parts 1 and 2.
Get out! While you still can!
You scared him. That wasn't very nice.
You shouldn't be here! It's not safe!
Step right up for the world's most dangerous game show. A stop off at a local theme park during a long road trip might seem like a good thing. Think of the food, the prizes, and the thrill of the rides. But what if it was a little too thrilling? Sure, the name of the park sets some expectations, but what's inside is beyond imagination. The Morris family find themselves competing in a deadly game show for the entertainment of sadistic monsters. The episode ends with a very literal cliffhanger.
Whoa! Now that's what I call a cliffhanger!
Will the Morris family ever get out of Horrorland? Tune in next week to the Monster Channel.
That's dark even for R.L. Stine. Number 4. Say cheese and die. Even Ryan Gosling can't save us from the horror of this episode. Photos are supposed to be little memories for us to hold on to forever. However, in this world, cameras can capture a much more menacing moment. The cursed camera predicts horrible fates for anyone in the frame.
Took a picture of our new car. When I looked at the photograph, it was all smashed up. I'm not buying it.
It's always unnerving when a mundane household item is suddenly portrayed in a vicious light. This episode does date itself with the equipment used to take photos, but could you imagine how much more overwhelming it would be in today's day and age? Every nanosecond is captured on someone's smartphone. What would we do if our camera rolls became misfortune tellers?
They believe that if it takes their picture, it will steal their soul. This camera is far worse. Far worse. Far worse.
Number 3. Stay Out of the Basement, Parts 1 and 2.
We heard some noises. Like someone was crying.
Did you go into the basement?
We were scared. The noises were strange.
We can all agree that basements are inherently a little creepy, right? Now add in aggressive plants and a cagey father, and you've got a real spine chiller. Margaret and Casey begin to worry about their father as he spends more and more time down there. They also discover worms underneath his bed covers. The secrecy surrounding the basement builds a slow-burning suspense. Margaret and Casey eventually discover that their father is not the man they thought he was. This episode has it all: creepy suspense, shocking jump scares, and horrific revelation. Maybe it's all right that we can't keep plants alive?
But how? We saw you.
No, it wasn't me. It's a plant. It's a plant copy of me.
Number 2. Night of the Living Dummy 2.
Whoa! Amy, I can hurt you and your family in 100 ways.
No, I won't let you!
80s kids had Chucky, and 90s kids had our pal Slappy. This episode sees Amy gifted a ventriloquist dummy. While Dad thinks he knocked it out of the park, Slappy is plotting to wreak havoc on the family. The doll comes to life, which seems like every kid's dream in theory. Slappy, however, is much more mischievous than Buzz or Woody and makes Amy's life miserable. One of the pitfalls of being young is that people chalk up crazy-sounding claims to childhood imagination. That makes Amy the perfect target for an insidious puppet with a hidden agenda.
Hey, Sarah, wanna play?
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. The Haunted Mask, Parts 1 and 2. Like many Goosebumps children, Carly struggles with being tormented in school. She decides to spend Halloween exploring her more assertive, darker side. The mask shop that she finds would probably be enough to scare the average kid away. But of course, our protagonist insists on taking the scariest mask available, which ends up being more than it seems. Fusing with her face, the mask takes over.
Carly Beth, what is it? The mask. It won't come off. Really? Can't get it off?
The way she claws at her new head makes our skin crawl. Even more chilling is the choir of rejected masks that float after her. Carly isn't the last kid who's tormented by a mask, as Steve befalls the same fate in Part 2.
I'm not an old man. I'm a kid.
You were. Until you chose the mask.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.